All right. Welcome, everybody. It's our Breathable Living Clean Seal podcast, episode number 2. We have a very special guest with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, you are in for a real treat. We have the one and the only Mr. Jared Scott with us today. Jared, give him a quick intro.
Well, first of all, you got me excited. I thought somebody else was joining us. I didn't expect that introduction coming my way, but uh, yeah, I've worked here at AeroSeal for I think 8.5 years, and my role here is on the selling to new dealers, and then also helping on the supporting side for the retro HVAC and solar side. So that's what we've been doing. Been working with Tracy here all that time. So if it
That's
seems
why he's been here so long, ladies and gentlemen, because he gets to work with me.
well, there's days. There's days.
Okay. And then, of course, the lovely Miss Amelia Philpott is with us as always. Amelia, say how to do.
Hi, Clean Sale Pros. How are we doing today?
All right. So, as I was thinking about our topic for this next episode, it hit me over the weekend, which is, it'll all make sense in a second, the reason why we invited Jared to participate. Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. I am old. I am turning into my parents. Yep. Yep. So I'm old like Jared is what I mean.
Sounds about right.
Older.
No, I'm definitely not older, but what I've noticed is I've started saying some of those silly things that parents say. You know, the things that you swore you'd never repeat. Ruh-roh, I'm starting to say some of those things. Amelia, I know you're younger than us, but have you caught yourself saying anything that parents or grandparents used to say?
I absolutely do, especially to the youngest one. He hears them quite often and it's becoming more frequent. So I'm guilty of it as well. Yeah.
What kinds of things? What are you saying?
Oh gosh, especially with the holidays, Christmas time. That's one of the first times I'll call Santa Claus. Christmas is canceled. Right around those, because typically that's when I have to threaten the most and remind the most. So we call Santa about 5 times a week, if not more sometimes.
Yeah. Well, Jared, you're sort of the expert on this. So, what are the phrases that you've been saying for a long time? I bet, right?
Yeah, there's a few, right? There's I think I was maybe the first one of the first things that I caught myself saying was money doesn't grow on trees, right? Like that is probably the first thing, and it was related. Who knows what it was related to, but first time that I caught myself, right? But and then quickly off of that, when my youngest, I'm like, I'm never going to say that again because that's what my parents say. But I would say something like, my kids would ask for something, and I would be like, "We'll see," right? And my youngest called me out. I remember he's like, "No, no, we'll see. We'll see means no." He was already on top of it. So there's that. There's also there was a conversation one time about fairness, or rather unfairness, right? My oldest was disappointed with something. I don't know what we were doing. I was picking him up from the babysitter, and he was like, "That's not fair." And I'm like, "I hate the F word. And just in case you know, that's my F, fair." Um, and so I'm kind of lecturing him as I'm taking my youngest son, who's probably, I think, 2 or 3, and I'm putting him in the van. So as I'm lecturing my oldest on fairness and how, don't say it, don't say that, and all, and as I close the van door, his hand is in it, and I broke his finger. So in trying to,
You broke his what? I couldn't hear you.
Broke his fingers.
Oh
yeah, man.
On purpose. It wasn't out of anger. I swear, Child Protective Service wasn't. But it was me giving the old person the fatherly I don't know, coaching on fairness. That's what it was.
Yep. What about let's see, I've jotted a few down. So the classic my dad for sure was the guy that was like, you don't cry when you're hurt. And if you get a little cut, like your hand shoved in the door and it starts bleeding, right? Dad would always say, you already know what I'm going to say. I guess we're going to have to amputate it, right? I'd get the, like quit crying. We're going to have to cut your finger off, I got that one a lot. And then of course the typical, when I was your age,
Oh, yeah.
fill in the blank. That's actually what I ended up saying over the weekend. And as I heard myself, I thought, oh gosh, what is
I
happening?
remember when all of this was just farmland, like something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Well, I got two more for you. So, for our first episode, we talked a little bit about air quality, and this one actually made me laugh. Mom's tucking you in, and sweet dreams, and maybe you say a little prayer before you go to bed, and then she does a little tuck tuck and says, "All right, nighty night. Don't let the bed bugs bite." What the heck is that? Where did that come from? Why do we say that?
I don't know. That sounds strange as can be to say. I don't think I've ever said that to my kids, and I can't remember my mom saying it to me, but you've heard it. It's so common for parents to say, and that's the last thing that you would want to happen or think of when you're going to bed.
Gross.
It's
It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Jared, did your parents say it to you? Mine did.
Yes, of course, of course.
Good night, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Yeah.
Like a whole, super gross. All right. Okay. We're about to bring it all home though and tie this into Clean Seal like we always do. Are you ready?
Oh,
I think this belongs on like every my dad said top 10 list. And it's going to be something along the lines of close that blank door. I'm not paying to heat the whole neighborhood, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I think every dad has said that. Jared, you probably say it right now, don't you?
I have said it recently. We were just the other day, we had the back door open and the screen that has a pull down glass on it or whatever. Air was on, screen was open, back door was wide open. I don't know what we were doing. It was my fault actually in that case, but yeah.
I just said it this weekend.
Did-
My son was Avery was going in and out, and when had his friends over, it was playing basketball, and the door every 5 seconds. I'm like, the air conditioner's on. Can you please shut the door? And then shut the door, and then it opened right back up, and it was just consistent. I'm like, okay, you're not going back out again. So yeah, all the time.
There is this is a few years ago, so since working here at AeroSeal, I'm really understanding better how the home performs and everything. My wife, it was the one time in July, I don't know who's here from Ohio, but Ohio does get pretty humid in the summer, at least here in the valley that we live in. And my stepson was there, had a friend over, and they were going out, playing basketball, running back over, getting a drink, running out, playing basketball, jumping on bikes or whatever. They were in and out so much that day. And she said, I don't understand why it's so uncomfortable in here that the thermostat's set to the same setting it's been set at, and it's not getting comfortable. And I said, well, it's not about the temperature, it's about the humidity, right? There's so much more humidity, that warm air coming in, or moist air rather coming in, and that is the second part. Some people think, obviously temperature is a big key to the comfort side, but also humidity plays a big role there. So
Yeah, that's a great point. I think what's interesting about this funny little thing, our dads or moms have, or even ourselves, we've all said hey, I'm not paying to heat the neighborhood or cool the neighborhood thing. I think it's because it takes a situation that is otherwise completely out of sight, out of mind, invisible, duct leakage, you don't see it, but now you got the kids running in and out the door, or the door is wide open. And now all of a sudden, what you've done is you've created a visual reminder of something that's happening all the time anyway. So I think, when we Clean Seal Pros, when you're thinking about different ways to paint a picture for your customers, and make that invisible problem more real, this is a great way to do so. And it's something that I think everybody can relate to. And then, to Jared's point, that's another, advanced. You want to take it to 2.0 level. It's another way to really point out the fact that temperature is one thing. We don't like it hot, we don't like it cold, but boy, oh boy, when you're not controlling the humidity, that's when it really becomes, well, that's when Tracy gets out her fan and, and the whoo. But yeah, those are great examples. Jared, you're probably the most technical out of the three of us. I've heard a lot of analogies that draw a parallel between, like the way an HVAC system works. It's like a giant evaporator. It's or dehydrator, right?
Air
And
dry. Mhm.
yeah, and our skin, kind of the same thing. When we sweat, we're kind of like an HVAC system. How would you paint a picture for a homeowner if you were kind of explaining that?
Yeah, well, it would be that, right? So I would probably share the transfer of energy. So a lot of people, a lot of homeowners may not understand where the cold air comes from, what creates it. But just talking about the transferring of the heat energy, right? During the cooling process, that might be a little too deep, but I think that you're spot on there with, you can create the analogy or share the analogy of how a coil becomes cold and condensates and what happens to the condensation and all that. I think you can get into that if it's warranted. Although I don't know if it comes down to a cooling issue or a comfort issue, that it's really about that. It's probably like, just fix it, right?
Just fix it.
Yeah, that was my wife, on that hot day when she's like, well, how do we fix it? I'm like, well, you're gonna have to turn it down and let that system run longer in this case.
Yeah, and to that point, Amelia, jump in here, but that's something that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, when you're emotional and you just want it fixed, the first thing you're thinking of is not price.
Right.
It's not the first thing. It's like Jared's wife, just fix it,
Mhm.
right? And Amelia, I'm sure you can expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, price is going to be, especially when emotions evolve, it's going to be the last thing that's going to be on their mind. Because ultimately, all they want to do is feel comfortable. They want to feel cool, or they want to feel hot again. They want the problem to be gone. And cost is not going to be the main focus. They're going to be focused on the resolution. And then they're going to think about cost after. Then it's going to be the logic after their emotions have taken over for them. So it's going to be pretty significant for them to be able to fix it right away. And then let's focus on the cost.
There you go, the right away part. So not only like, can you fix it? How
Right.
quickly can I get on your schedule?
Mhm.
And then, but what's this going to cost me?
Right.
So I think that's a great way to kind of outline the, what's going on. And a lot of us, not a lot of us, but a lot of you listening, often worry about price being the thing, like the only thing they're thinking about. And gosh, when I'm hot, price is not the only thing I'm thinking about.
No.
Mm-mm. Jared, you look like you wanted to say something. Chime in here.
Yeah, I'm just thinking my wife, first of all, she's gonna be great it's gonna be great when she hears that she's been such a substantial part of this.
Aaron, we love you.
Conversation.
We love you, Aaron, very much.
But yeah, if it was only always about price, they wouldn't have AC.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
They just open windows and pray for the best.
There you go.
True.
And then again, maybe final thought. We've talked about this in some of our training. If we're being real about this, Amelia, I know you've heard it a bunch of times. Jared, for sure you've heard it, but sometimes there's this hierarchy, we'll call it, in the trades. And I think, you got HVAC kind of up here a little bit higher on that ladder. And maybe duct cleaners, they get a bad rep and they're down here, and lots of bad press about scammers and this and that. And it's
Mhm.
tough sometimes to be a duct cleaner. Sometimes, there's this profiling going on that doesn't put you in a good light. Now, as a Clean Seal Pro, you have such a big opportunity to elevate yourself as truly an expert on comfort, humidity, air quality. Wow, my HVAC guy never told me that. Thank you. Wow, you guys are great. Wow, you guys are cool. So man, I'd be banking on that opportunity. Yeah.
Definitely. I actually just had this conversation with one of our Clean Seal pros this morning. He said that
Yeah.
exact same thing is he's running into where there's a lot of scammers and a lot of issues with people who are trying to scam him with duct cleaning. It set a bad reputation and they're trying to overcome it. They're trying to move past it and they're trying to offer a great service, for the homeowner. So it's definitely something they're trying to work through and they are dealing with, but I feel like they've got a lot of opportunity here and they're going to continue to move up that hierarchy. Definitely.
It is something we get, my team that sells equipment to new dealers, they bring them on. Every summer, we get air duct cleaners that are calling us and because they're researching what could be a problem, or how to solve a problem for a homeowner. And, I think we have a pretty good place in the HVAC world, right? That's kind of where we were born and grew up in. But on the duct cleaning side, it's a little bit different. But when I guess that maybe homeowners are thinking that there's so much dust or something in their ducts that's causing the air to not get to the upstairs, right? Where it is in the summertime and where it's
Giant dust bunny in the
Yeah.
car, right?
Yeah. So what when I say that, yeah, the duct cleaning industry, there are those scenarios or those some reluctance of is it good, is it needed, is it even legitimate, like some of those stories that we've seen on TV and things like that. But there's also a lot of respect and trust that customers are giving their to their duct cleaning providers, right? Because you don't take a problem like that to a contractor that you don't trust. So it's just very interesting. It's every summer, it never fails. And the good thing is, like, we have something that helps so much, but then it also fits right in with everything else that they're doing, right? And it's natural. Do you want me to share what MJ shared, Tracy, his thought?
I think you're
back
going to
the
have to now. You brought it up. So it'd be really awkward if you didn't.
We can't
Yeah.
edit this out. This is live.
Yeah,
We're in
absolutely.
trouble.
Yeah, go ahead. I think it's a good story.
Yeah, so we did at the NACA spring or the annual conference this year. We did it was a panel with I was on it and MJ with Safety King was on there. A lot of people probably know him, especially if you're in NADCA. But we were talking just talking about the value of bringing extra or bringing additional value, and we were talking duct sealing in general, right? Not just AeroSeal, although I had my AeroSeal shirt on, so take that for what it's worth. But MJ was the big fan of AeroSeal there, and he was actually talking very specifically about it. But there's something that he said, and like an impassioned point that he made at the very end, and he I'll paraphrase. He did it so much better, but he said he's tired of being known as the duct janitors, right? And he's like, we can bring energy savings too with AeroSeal. We can bring comfort improvement too with AeroSeal. And when I heard him say that, I'm like, I never even thought that was I didn't know that was a thought. I didn't even have any idea that was even on his mind. But it is something, if you're looking to raise the value of what you're doing, it is in those connected services. And I don't have to tell you, I mean, this is what we do, right? But I just thought it was really cool to hear him say it, and he didn't have to, but it was something that I shared, with other contractors when they're thinking about AeroSeal.
Yep. I think it's a good, is it a metaphor, analogy? I don't know which one it is. Simile, one of those.
Something like that.
One of those. All right. Yeah.
Metaphor. How about that?
Okay. All right. Well, Jared, when I was your age, I'm just kidding. I'm not yet your age. So, I think we've given our listeners a lot to chew on. Hopefully we had a little fun doing it.
Hopefully they stay tuned in.
What did you say?
Hopefully they stay tuned in.
Hopefully you stayed tuned in. Yes, hopefully. And we have some more topics planned for episodes 3 through 1,000. So stay tuned.
Great.
And some more wonderful guests coming up. So I think that's all we have for right now. So happy sealing, everybody. Jared, thank you so much for joining us for this episode.
Pleasure.
Amelia, see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye bye, everybody.